This is the Planning, Programming, and Zoning Commission regular meeting for March 5th. First item on the agenda is approval of this evening's agenda.
I move to approve the agenda as presented with an amendment to combined items, 1 through 3 under section B.
Okay.
With that,
Okay.
Second.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Okay. And just a reminder, when you are speaking, try to speak into the mics.
I'm not.
Okay. Next item is approval of the minutes of the regular meeting on February 5th, 2019, and then the special meeting on February 19th, 2019.
I'll make a motion to approve those minutes.
second.
Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Next, we'll have the financial report for January.
This is Anderson with staff. So we are at 50% of the year. Just nothing's changed a whole lot since I think last month's. Overall, we are at 58% of expense and 47% of revenue. So again, we should be at about 50%. So we're a little high in the one. And again, some of the expenses are paid up front for the entire year. And the revenues, we just need to get Tim to sell some property back there. So we're good.
Can you repeat the percentages?
58% of expenses and 47% of revenue.
Thank you.
This is Flynn. Does the revenue at all change with property tax or not at all?
Not for our budget purposes, because it's set into a certain dollar amount
Sad.
for the
Okay,
year. Yep.
perfect. Thank you.
Any additional questions? All right. Next, we will move on to oral presentations. This is a time for anyone who's in attendance of the meeting to speak to an item that is not on this evening's agenda. Is there anybody in the audience that would like to speak on a matter? Okay, seeing none, we will go on to new business. First item of new business is a hearing set on a site plan amendment, a request by A-Line ALO LLC for a site plan amendment for an airplane hangar in the M2P Planned Industrial District located southwest of 2814 Betsworth Lane. The time is 4:03 p.m. and a hearing is scheduled. At this time, we should note that the memo dated March 5th, 2019 from the city planner stating that the city of Waterloo was the only property owner within 250 feet of the property in question. As such, no notice to property owner was mailed. For those of you who wish to speak for or against this request, you'll have an opportunity after the staff report, and then the applicant gets a chance to address the commission. If you are speaking regarding this request, we would ask that you please come to the microphone, identify yourself by name and address. All right, staff report.
Okay, the applicant is A-Line, AOL LLC, and the owner is City of Waterloo. The applicant is requesting to construct a new 12,800 square foot airport hangar. The request to construct an airport hangar would not appear to have a negative impact upon the surrounding area, as it would appear to be compatible with other industrial and commercial development in the area. Proposed site plan amendment would not appear to have a negative impact upon vehicular or pedestrian traffic conditions in the area. The site is served by Betsworth Drive, which is a local road, Airport Boulevard, which is a collector, and Midport Boulevard, which is a local road as well. The area in question has been zoned M2P Planned Industrial District since March 13th, 1995, when the land was rezoned from A1 Agricultural District to allow for industrial and commercial development on the site. There was a site plan amendment that was approved by the City Council on November 2nd, 1998 to allow for an industrial building to the south of the proposed hangar site. Surrounding land uses and their zoning designations, the entire area to the north, south, east, and west is zoned M2P Planned Industrial District, and the area can either consist of vacant land, commercial or industrial buildings, or airport hangars parking lot. No buffers are needed regarding this request. The applicant will need to submit and execute a landscaping plan for the site during the building permit approval process. Will also be necessary that a storm water detention plan is submitted as well to the engineering department for review and approval. Proposal request will not appear to have a negative impact upon drainage in the area. The applicant has indicated that they will plan on having an infiltration storm drainage system that will slowly retain stormwater as it percolates into the ground. Surrounding areas mostly vacant land to the west and east. Commercial industrial areas to the north were built between 1940s and 2010s. Commercial industrial areas to the south were built between the 1980s and 2010s. None of the property is located in the 100-year floodplain. Lincoln Elementary School is located 2.49 miles to the southeast. George Washington Carver Academy is located 3.31 miles to the southeast, and East High School is located 4.89 miles to the southwest of the project site. George Woods State Park is located 0.7 miles to the south of the site as well. There's an 8-inch sewer line that connects to the project site. In addition, there's a 12-inch sanitary sewer line and an easement along Airport Boulevard and 4-inch drain tile along Midport Boulevard as well. The applicant is working with Waterloo Airport's electrical contractor and Mid-American to determine the location of existing utilities and where utilities will need to be relocated. It should also be noted that the water lines are owned by the airport and not by the Waterloo Waterworks Department. The applicant will have to work with the airport to tie into their water main system. Future land use map designates this area to the north, east, and west as parks, open space, hospitals, government facility, public areas, and government facilities. Land of the south is designated as industrial. The proposed site plan amendment will be in conformance with the comprehensive and future land use map for the area. The applicant is requesting to construct the 12,800 square foot hangar. The area in question zone M2P Plan Industrial District, and this zoning is designated to permit the establishment of industrial parks and to provide for the orderly planned growth of industries on large tracts of land and allowing for greater flexibility and diversification of land uses and building locations. It is also intended that such industrial parks be developed to maximize potential for industrial areas at the time and minimize any adverse effect upon adjacent property owners. Zoning ordinance requires just one space for every 2 spaces employed at the facility, which is anticipated to only be 2 employees at the maximum. The site has 8 parking spaces, and this is 7 more than what's required per ordinance. Plat will not need to be submitted for this area, as this request will remain in the ownership of the city of Waterloo. City will own the hangar once the lease period is completed. The proposed site plan amendment area is designated as Zone D on the Waterloo Airport Land Use and Height Overlay Map. The maximum elevation height of the structure allowed at the airport hangar site is 1,023 feet, and the base elevation for the site is only 870 feet. The height for the hangar is only 43 feet, and the base elevation height plus the hangar is only 913 feet, which is about 110 feet less than what the height maximum is for the site. In addition, no impacts are anticipated regarding the proposed land use of the building of an airport hangar, and the proposed building is considered a compatible use in the City of Waterloo Airport Land Use and Height Overlay Zoning Ordinance. Therefore, all conditions are met. The Waterloo Fire Department noted that they will review potential site plan impacts when the building drawings for the airport hangar is submitted. Engineering Department indicated that it will be tasked with reviewing and approving the storm drainage plan as a part of the building review process. Therefore, staff recommends that the request for a site plan amendment in the M2P Plan Manufacturing District be approved for the following reasons. The request is conformance with the comprehensive plan and future land use map for this area. The request would not appear to have a negative impact on traffic conditions in the area. The request would not appear to have a positive impact upon the surrounding area by infusing private investment into the airport-related use at the Waterloo Regional Airport. And with the following condition, that the final site plan meets all applicable city codes, regulations, et cetera, including but not limited to parking, landscaping, screening, drainage, setbacks, and et cetera. And that's the staff report.
Do the commissioners have questions for staff?
This is do not. My question for staff is, do we have any questions about the water main that's located there, water issues at the site or detention site that was actually outlined and talked about in the technical review in this item?
This is Anderson with staff. The engineer is here for the applicant, and I'm sure he can update you on any concerns they may have. Otherwise, it's just a matter of working out those utility connections with the airport. And the airport director, Keith Caspary, is also here.
Other questions for staff?
This is Flynn. So who is paying for the hangar construction?
The private developer.
Private developer. Okay.
And it will be a building on leased land, since this is in the airport area for airport-related industry.
So then it indicated the city will own the hangar once the lease period is completed. So,
Correct, and I think it's either a 40 or a 50-year period, which is what is required.
perfect. Thank you.
Any other questions for staff? Is the applicant here and like to address the commission? Please state your name and address as well.
My name is Alex Bauer. I work for Fair Graham, representing A-Line ALO today. My address is 200 5th Avenue Southeast in Cedar Rapids, Iowa. It's pretty straightforward process, or pretty straightforward improvement. We plan to put an airline hangar on airport property. A lot of the infrastructure, it's all available for us. There's a lot of remediation that's taking process in this. I'm not sure if you saw some of the existing conditions on the site plan. You know, a few buildings, but that's all slated to get cleaned up. You know, stuff that has been sitting around for a while that could use it. So there's some benefit there. So, but otherwise, if there's any questions, I'm here to answer them.
Any commissioners have questions for applicant?
This is Flynn. For the buildings, there wouldn't be any concern of asbestos in any of those if they've sat that long?
I am not thoroughly familiar. I do know that there was concern with the tiles, and those were tested. I believe they came back negative. Keith Caspary might have better insight to that. Is that correct?
Thank you, Alex. Members of the commission, good afternoon. Keith Caspar, Airport Director. The site that Alex mentions is a former emergency generator building and support that has been long since abandoned by the FAA. So my predecessor, two ago, accepted that building on behalf of the city. It needs to be demolished in order for this project to move forward. And that is part of the overall demolition and site preparation for this hangar project.
Commissioner Surfline,
Sorry.
I'm just curious, what's your timeline for completion?
I'd have to defer that to the architect.
Goal.
I would suspect it's probably calendar year 2019. So, but I'd have to defer to Alex. But the tiles in the generator building, they're the old 9-inch style, which to me refers to that size of tile has historically had an asbestos-containing building material product in it.
So this is Flynn again. My question with that can run into some money. We found with, school buildings with a lot of asbestos. So that's built into the project, the cost of the
My
potential
understanding
asbestos.
that demolition or the removal is built into the overall cost of the project.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Does the commission have any other questions for the applicant? Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Is there, oh, go ahead.
Make a motion to close the hearing.
Let me see. Is there anybody else here that wants to address this matter? Okay, go for
Now I'll make the motion to close the hearing.
I'll second it.
it. Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, is there discussion amongst the commission?
I think it's great that we'll have a little improvement at the airport area. It's super. I'm happy to hear it, and
Wanna make the
I will make a motion. I will do that. Just a moment. What page? I make a motion to approve the request by A-Line, ALO-LCC for a site plan amendment to the M2P Planned Industrial District to allow for the construction of an airport hangar located southwest of 2814 Betsworth Drive as part of a two-phase project. I concur with the staff recommendation that the request for this be approved for the following reasons. The request is in conformance with the comprehensive plan and future land use map for this area. The request would not appear to have a negative effect on traffic conditions in the area. The request would appear to have a positive impact upon the surrounding area by infusing private investment into an airport-related use at the Waterloo Regional Airport. And the following condition be met, that the final site plan meets all applicable city codes, regulations, et cetera, including but not limited to parking, landscaping, screening, drainage, setbacks, et cetera.
Second.
Great. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Great, motion is carried. Thank you. All right, we will move on to B, and we have, oh, okay, which we are combining items 1, 2, and 3, requests by the City of Waterloo for several easement vacates.
What page does that begin on?
27,
27, thank
page
you.
27.
Okay,
Okay, this is a request by the City of Waterloo to vacate approximately 1,113 square feet of alley located east of Evergreen Avenue between Harwood Avenue and Falls Avenue at the former Edison School site. And also a request to vacate approximately 4,459 square feet of Rock Island Avenue located on the northerly side of Harwood Avenue at the old Edison School site. And also to dedicate a utility easement along a previously vacated alley west of Magnolia Parkway between Harwood and Falls Avenue. The site is zoned R1 RP, Planned Residence District, and has been zoned as such since May 9th, 2011. To the north is former Edison School site, zoned R1 RP, Planned Residence District. To the south is former Edison School site, residences and commercial, zoned R1 RP, Planned Residence District, R2, 1 and 2 Family Residence District, and C1 Commercial District. To the east is a former Edison School site, and to the west is residences and commercial, zoned R2 and 1 and 2 Family Residence District, and C1 Commercial District. Residences were built between 1929 and 1960, commercial built between 1929 and 1967. Fred Becker Elementary School is located 0.86 miles to the southwest. Central Middle School is located 1.41 miles to the southwest. And East and West High Schools are both located 2.3 miles to the east and southeast, respectively. Galloway Park is located 0.33 miles to the northwest. In the area to be vacated of the alley, there's an 8-inch sanitary sewer line that runs along the proposed vacate. A utility easement will need to be retained over the vacated area. The city is currently working with the school district for a property trade that would see the city take over this former Edison site for redevelopment possibilities. Is the opinion of staff that the former alley and the portion of Rock Island Avenue will not be needed for the redevelopment. Therefore, staff request to vacate would not appear to recommends the approval of the request. It would not have an impact on the surrounding area. The request for vacate would not appear to have a negative impact on vehicular or pedestrian traffic in the area. The area to be vacated is not needed for right-of-way. An easement be maintained over, under, and upon the proposed vacate, and that includes the vacate for both the alley and Rock Island Avenue right-of-way. And then also the rest of the alley was vacated back on July 26, 1948. However, when they did the vacate, they did not maintain an easement. There is a sanitary sewer line that runs through there. Therefore, we're requesting a dedicated easement through that area to protect the sewer line as development takes place at the site. Therefore, we recommend approval to dedicate as would not appear to have a negative impact surrounding the area. The request to dedicate the easement would not appear to have a negative impact on vehicular or pedestrian traffic in the area, and the dedication will protect the sanitary sewer line.
Questions for staff?
I don't know if this is a side question, but this might be a question generally. This is do not, whatever happened to the original schools that were Edison and Blackhawk? Did the site at Blackhawk get built upon when Fred Becker was built?
Yeah, Blackhawk is currently, Fred Becker is on the old Blackhawk site, and Edison was, I believe, swapped with the city for land previously.
Okay.
So Edison was torn down probably 5 years ago.
Yeah, I wasn't aware that it was torn down even, so.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, as you get into these, this is Anderson with staff, as you get into these older school sites especially, there was a lot of times like the Blackhawk site especially, a portion of that land was actually owned by the city and the rest was owned by the schools. Obviously, the Waterloo schools and the city do a lot of communication and cooperation in terms of mowing and taking care of maintenance areas and even playground areas. And so we've been cleaning up these as the sites are redeveloped to try and vacate some of these. You know, Lafayette School is a perfect example of, there's actually an alley that went right down the middle of where the building was.
Oh.
Not a very good practice. At the same time, when they built it, they probably didn't matter because the alley wasn't physically there. It was just there on paper. But we're trying to correct all these, especially as we're looking at redevelopment of some of these sites so that they're nice and clear for a developer to come along. So that's why you see a lot of actions on this one. And like John just noted, the one easement, the vacate was done, but they didn't put an easement on it. And we wouldn't want someone to come along there and all of a sudden hit that sewer, so.
And I guess from the board's perspective, the schools, I mean, we consider it swapping for success, you know, work for you, work for us. It is two entities collaborating to make the best of what we have, so.
Is there anybody else here that wants to address those matters? Please state your name and address.
My name is Ben Neal, and my address is 1056 Evergreen. I'm here also representing the Neighborhood Association. The president could not make it. Our other, I guess, people that are here are also going to be on the park committee that the Neighborhood Association put together. We are in full support of this because this is helping clear up some necessaries for the redevelopment of that lot. And with the school being gone, that's kind of left a hole in our neighborhood. So we would like to see that come back together, get some residential, commercial use and some park space. So we're in full support of this.
Thank
Thanks.
you.
Thank you.
Is there anybody else that would like to address the commission? Okay. Seeing none, any discussion amongst the commission?
Well, this is Flynn. I'm glad to hear that because we have been, the district and the city, I think, been working with the Neighborhood Association to get, you know, the building removed initially and the area cleaned up, and you guys have been patient neighbors, so thank you.
There's someone who wants to take a stab at that motion?
It's a
Combining them?
three-part motion,
Yeah.
correct? Yeah.
A condition for the two vacates.
I'll go ahead and make a motion to approve the vacates at the former Edison School site as referred in agenda item B1 and B2, with the condition that an easement be maintained over, under, and upon the proposed vacate, and to approve a utility easement at the formerly vacated alley of West Magnolia between Hardwood and Falls Avenue as indicated in agenda item B3.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, motion carried.
I had to write that one out. I knew it was gonna take a while.
All right. We'll move on to agenda item B4, a request by Waterloo Public Schools to vacate portions of Littlefield Road and Lindbud Lane right-of-way located north of 1239 Sheldon Street. Have the staff report.
This is Andera staff. The school district is requesting to vacate right-of-way of Littlefield and Lynn-Bud Lane just south of Sager Avenue. The request was initially before the commission in September of 2010. Staff did request after it proceeded through the planning commission that a survey be submitted for the legal description of Littlefield Road right-of-way. As you can see on your map, there's a curve in the right-of-way. It's not simply just being able to say vacate Littlefield Road south of Sager Avenue. So since it was past the year time frame, the ordinance does require that this request come back before the commission for review. There is a 10-inch sanitary line within Lynn-Bud Lane to the east, and so a utility easement will need to be retained over that. The city did have our surveyor go out and draw the plat that you see in the packet today in December of this past year. So the staff is recommending approval of the request to vacate Littlefield Road and Lynn-Bud Lane right-of-ways just south of Sager Avenue. The request would not appear to have a negative impact upon the area. 2, the request would not appear to have a negative impact upon pedestrian traffic conditions within the surrounding area, and with the condition that a utility easement is retained over, under, and upon the entire area of Lynn-Bud Avenue, south of Sager Avenue.
Any questions for staff? Anybody here to address this agenda item? Okay, seeing none. Any discussion amongst the commission?
Well, this is Flanagan, and I, lots of school stuff tonight. And I checked with Marty Metcalf, our Director of Operations, and he said, as you stated, just kind of a little cleanup, that this is already in use by Becker and the district, just to clean up for that easement, correct?
Yeah, correct. And this is Anderson with staff. One of the things, you can kind of see it on the color copy, not so much in the black and white. On the parcel there to the right, if you can see, just to the right of that, there's a space before it gets to Citrus Drive, which is the next parcel. We don't believe that there's another parcel there, so that's one of the things that we've been kind of checking into, and we're talking to the county assessor's office about. It looks like that there might be some kind of either a misdescription or something somewhere in a legal description that shows that there's another parcel there, and there's not. So that'll be school ownership as well, but we're just clearing that up. So that was one of the things that, not that it slowed us down this much, but it slowed us down a little bit recently in getting this through, just to do a little bit of research on that and get everything right. So it just a little bit of cleanup.
Would the easement fall within the?
The easement's outside of that, so it's not affecting anything we do, but we were contemplating whether we should do something with that, and it doesn't appear we need to at this time, so.
Okay.
Just like that little strip
Like a
to
ghost
the right.
parcel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The assessors love
Not
those.
sure if
Well,
it's
you know, there were
Exactly.
a lot of houses there that were removed, so maybe something was
Was something
missurveyed
over
or
there,
something.
yeah.
Yeah.
Any other discussion or motion?
I'll make a motion that we approve the request to vacate Littlefield Road and Lynn-Bud Lane right-of-ways lying just south of Sager Avenue, and that it be approved for the following reasons. There appears to be no negative impact on the surrounding area, nor upon pedestrian or traffic conditions, and subject to the following condition, that a utility easement is retained over, under, and upon the entire area of Lynn-Bud Avenue lying south of Sager Avenue.
Second.
All those in favor?
I have a
Aye.
question
Aye.
about the motion. Do we need to amend the motion because of your comments about Citrus Avenue?
No, nope, we're good.
Any other discussion on the motion?
Who seconded that?
I did.
Davis.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, motion carried. Okay. Any other discussion items? Okay, I would just note that the next regular meeting is April 2nd. Do we have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, motion carried. Thank you, everyone.
We do have a budget hearing at 5 o'clock, if anyone would like to stay.
Thank you.